We're going to keep this to an hour. What we're discussing tonight is the impact of the new Dollar General plan permit on Kelseyville, on our economic and infrastructure concerns here. So we want everybody who wants to speak a chance to speak, but we want to keep it short, 3 minutes. So can we get started? If you want to speak, just introduce yourself and let us know how you feel. So right now I'm going to keep a impartial, very impartial position on this, and Marilyn's going to keep track of our major points, pro and con. And basically in preparation for the Planning Commission meeting on May 28th, it's happening at 9:45 in the morning. Everybody's invited to that, but we're trying to get a little more concise as to our thoughts and ideas and concerns, positive, negative. So we want to get everybody's feedback. Okay? First.
All right, guys.
Go ahead.
Can I use my approval? Thanks, sir. Well, hi there, everyone. This is the first time that I've spoken since I've been retired with IBM. And I'm really excited about this. I love change. I love things that want to happen for this community. I've been employed in Kelseyville. I'm retired in Kelseyville. I'm a past bartender, a past notary. I think this is, how many people here have been to the Dollar General store in Nice? I'm just going to say less than 10. That's fine. Nothing has shut down in Nice because of the Dollar General store. I go to the dollar store, the Dollar Tree in Lakeport. I go to the grocery outlet. I stay away from Shop Smart. I think they're Shop Stupid. I do go to Safeway. I would like another venue here in Kelseyville. I have limited mobility in my legs. Someday I may not be able to go there. It's a great venue for me to have in this town. Yes, sir.
John, could you state your name for people that don't know who you are?
Pardon?
Could you state your name for people?
Oh, certainly. Yes, this is Rob Brown.
No,
that
not
just
me.
mentioned. My name is John Heldorfer. I live at Kelseyville Mobile Home Park behind the firehouse. Thank you, Rob. I apologize for that. I think it's a great addition. You don't have to worry about something being shut down. Nothing is shut down in Nice because the Dollar General is there. I've had bad experiences with the Kelseyville Food Center. I know 3 ladies that I called the ABC about that got ripped off for cash, and they've thrown them out of the store when they went back in to get their money back.
1 minute.
Okay? So, I'm supportive of the store being here in Kelseyville because I use the store. It's not cheap. It says Dollar General, but it's not a dollar store. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Peggy Robertson. I am also retired. Live here in Kelseyville. And my number one concern when I first heard this was opening here was the businesses that are already here. Now, there aren't a lot of businesses here. And I thought before I become very judgmental, I should probably go look at a Dollar General myself and see what they have to offer. So I did, and you're right, there are very nice stores over there. And as I walked through them, I thought, well, the Food Center sells all of that, or Store 24 sells all of that, the Lumberyard sells that. What do they have that isn't already offered here? And personally, I couldn't find anything that they have that I couldn't find already here. What I really think our community needs isn't the point of this, but I mean, what we need are, our regular grocery store. But since we don't have that, I began thinking about the businesses that are here. I went and spoke to each of the business owners this afternoon, and there are not a lot of them. But think about when those businesses, if they should have to close, how many empty buildings do we have in Kelseyville as it is? And this would be one more empty space, and it would break my heart to see a local person kind of run out of town because of a chain coming in. When we look at what we would like to have happen in this town, I know we all are in favor of small businesses, locally owned businesses, and I think it's a shame to have this happen. Also, doing a little research, I haven't had much time, but it sure appears that independent retailers, by recirculating the money in their communities, will get you about, I forget what the percentage is down there, you can look at my paper and see, but it's about 30% more go back into the community than from a chain store.
Let's keep in mind that this is in preparation for comments to the Planning Commission as to whether they're going to approve this permit or not. If you want to ask more about the criteria for that approval, we've got Rick Howell here that might be able to answer questions about that approval process. Go back, standing up.
Yes, my name's Mary Lima. I don't need that. I'm loud. I work at Store 24, Mount Clark Gas Mart, and this being built right next to my store, my concern is a cut of hours, a cut of staff. I mean, I understand that they have a lot of stuff in bulk that we can't offer, but we're a thriving business. If they bring that store in, we're going to lose customers just based on that. Sure, we have hot food. Everyone loves it. We all know that. But to me, you can run to Lakeport if you want bulk. If you want something quick and on the move, come to the store where I work at. I mean, to me, it's unreasonable. Thank you.
Thank you. Next order.
I also have a loud mouth, so I don't think I need the mic. My name's Ellen. I moved to Kelseyville a year and a half ago. My husband and I owned what we called our dream property outside of Lower Lake in Morgan Valley. We had a little over 30 acres, loved it. Out in the middle of nowhere, 20 minutes on dirt road, in and out every day. It was great. My husband's health, however, went down the tubes, and he couldn't maintain our property. So we needed to move. When we started looking, we were looking for a place that we could call home for the rest of our lives, because that's what we thought we had out there. We had our choice of anywhere we wanted to go. We didn't have to stay in Lake County, but we loved Lake County. And when we started looking, Kelseyville fit both of our needs. It was the kind of place we could see ourselves, excuse me for living, but growing older and grayer. Dollar General does not fit that image. The last thing Lake County and Kelseyville specifically needs is another company that insists on employing part-time employees at minimum wage jobs. We don't need that. It doesn't fit with Kelseyville. This county has 4 dollar stores now. We don't need 5. We certainly don't need 6, in my opinion. I don't see it. I love being able to walk downtown Kelseyville. Moved here because my husband, should he have to go into a cart at some point in the future, can get to the post office, can get to the bank. God forbid, go down to the brew pub, have 5, 6, 7, 8 beers, head to the store, buy a pack of cigarettes. You know what? I love that part of Kelseyville. I like that I could walk here tonight and not feel like I needed to drive because I didn't feel comfortable in Kelseyville.
Thank you. Now, on that point about the character of the town, is that a valid Planning Commission decision point
Yes.
when they're considering the use permit?
Can we ask Rick that question?
Can you answer that, Rick?
For the Planning Commission, They look at the policies of the general plan, the policies of your Kelseyville area plan, and in my experience, largely they're looking more at the design of the building. First off, is it consistent with the zoning? In this case, the project is. So they focus more on the architecture, the layout, trying to look at how it fits in better with the community from an architectural standpoint and scale. Now, that assumes that all of the environmental impacts can be mitigated through design, through, for instance, road frontage improvements, drainage improvements, and so on and so forth. I think the community identity type issues are probably more appropriately addressed at the Board of Supervisors on appeals or other projects that go directly to the board. Just my opinion.
Is that understood? That might be a secondary concern. Sharon?
Rick, you mentioned roads. I wondered, in order to get the permit, has there been a traffic study done? Because it's a very congested area. Those roads at best are a lane and a half.
So, yeah, that project was reviewed by the County Public Works Department, and also reviewed by the, I want to say the Traffic Advisory Committee. The recommendation was pedestrian improvements, curb gutter and sidewalk along both street frontages, a Lake Transit Authority bus stop area, and there's already a crosswalk connecting from the high school side over to the gas station.
I think the concern is that it looks like there's 32 parking spots with more cars coming in. Deliveries added already to dropping off and picking up of kids with all three of the schools, plus the school buses, and it's already very congested as it is. So just wondering, are there some other mitigations? Are the roads going to be widened? Is there going to be something done with the Highway 29 and Main Street exit entrance?
There was no warrants met for improvements to the highway intersection. Public Works looked at that closely. So did the Traffic Advisory Committee.
I got a question. What are the hours of operation? Maybe that's not even an issue.
Yeah, I don't have that here, but generally I think they're 8 to 8.
8 or 9 to like 8 or 9 at night.
Yeah. There's a couple of issues. For one thing, you don't have the site plan copy up there, but one of the things that my staff and I have been talking to the developer about is they're proposing roughly 8 or 10 more parking spaces than they're actually required to have, and we want them to reduce that. So we've been talking to them about a redesign, taking out one row of parking. You don't need all that parking. The store's not that big, so you're not going to have 30 people shopping there all at once. Maybe on opening day they'll have 20 people there. These are small stores. People are in and out of them quickly. It's not like Walmart where you can get lost in that place and spend an hour. You're going to be there for maybe 15 minutes. It's 8,000 square feet. So they've over-designed. They've over-designed on their driveway width and their parking. So that should be considered. It's not, we want it to look softer. If the project's approved, we want the building located closer to Main Street. They can take out a row of parking, more landscaping, soften the building some more, extend the architectural features around the side and back of the building. It's visible from portions of Live Oak Drive as well. So we've been working on them on cross-development to redesign that site plan.
Would the Crookshank House be going to?
No.
What was that?
The Crookshank House, there's no demolition. That house will remain. They're just looking at the 2 vacant parcels in the front.
So traffic has been studied?
Traffic has been evaluated by Public Works. They've looked at the size of the building. They've looked at the warrants for whether off-site improvements at the intersection of the highway are needed. Caltrans also reviewed this. Nobody's saying that this is big enough to require off-site, intersection improvements at the highway.
What about environmental impact report?
There was no grounds that we could come up with to justify an environmental impact report.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider.
Here I go. But I wasn't saying either. Here I go. I come from the grocery business. I worked it most of my life, and I worked for corporate, and I worked for Bruno's Foods and the smaller stores. Foods, etc., Fleming Foods. That's most of my experience in my life. When you bring a corporate store into this community, I will tell you firsthand, I left Bruno's. Why? Because my shift was changing, my wages were changing. Guess what? I'm an older lady who had to go, whoa, what am I going to do now? I do care about these people that are speaking back here and about all the people, all the little stores that we might have that might be affected by this store. And I say might, I'm going to say I'm pretty sure it's going to be. The next thing that my concern is, okay, we all want a grocery store in Kelseyville that has meat and produce. Is this going to have impact on that future planning? This is about planning. Is it going to have an impact? That's my deal. I'll shut up now.
Can I ask something, Rick, or just ask Rick to clarify something?
Yes.
The issue of competition with other businesses, is that something the planning commission can consider?
No.
Can you tell us what the planning commission does consider?
That's what he was telling me.
Yeah. The planning commission considers consistency with the general plan, the area plan, the zoning ordinance. They look at site design. We ask the planning commission to serve as the design review committee in towns where we don't have a standing design review committee like Kelseyville. So they help us with architectural design after staff has beat on it for quite a while and we get into the hearing. That's our primary concerns, but they adopt the CEQA document, the environmental analysis. In this case, we're recommending adoption of a mitigated negative declaration. That just means we've found mitigation measures for all of the environmental impacts of the store. Traffic, lighting, design, stormwater, etc.
Yes.
So what is, my question, what has Dollar General done to this point to get where they're at, and what is the next official step that they need to complete to get the store in Kelseyville? Maybe that's your...
Well, that's what we're talking about, that's what we're meeting
Well, I know,
for.
that's what
It's
I'm-
the meeting on May 28th, 9:45 in the morning.
And what will be the issue then?
Whether or not their permit will be approved.
I see, so it's a permit approval?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Witness vote.
I'm Jan Coppinger, and I've lived in Kelseyville since 2003. And I just want to say, as far as the other businesses go, there isn't any place to shop in Kelseyville. Quite frankly, we're not going to go buy our toothpaste and our cleaning supplies and all restock everything in Store 24. It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. So all my shopping's done in Lakeport or Clearly. And that means everything I do gets done while I shop. So things like hair appointments, nail appointments, take my grandson out to a treat. I'm spending all that money in Lakeport because in a way, Kelseyville doesn't exist because I have to go to Lakeport anyway. I'll just take care of even Lumberyard. I stop by a Piedmont or Mendel Mill. I would love to be able to think of Kelseyville as a town where I could just go pick up the things I need to, take the little grandson for an ice cream, maybe stop by Studebaker's and have a cup of coffee. I've been to Studebaker's twice. My money goes to Angelina's and all the other places in Lakeport, and I really would like to spend my money where I live, but I'm too busy. So I just want to say that maybe it's not going to take away from businesses. Maybe to be able to live in Kelseyville and shop in Kelseyville, we will spend more money. Because every time I go to the store just to pick up a few things, I'm a little bit bummed that I spend way more than I intended because there's a million other things. Pick up a taco, pick up a cup of coffee, pick up an ice cream for the grandson. And just those kind of things
Well, that's an
stimulate the
interesting point.
economy.
That's an interesting point, that you have to travel out of town to
Right.
get what you need. Although I've heard, who was mentioning that everything that Dollar General sells can already be bought here? Who said that?
There's conflicting stories.
Yeah, I'm not going to go do my major shopping at Store 24. I mean, it doesn't.
Or you're not
make
gonna do
any
major
sense.
shopping.
Yeah. But
Take sides, but it's not a major shopping store, I believe, right? No.
But you could pick up your toothpaste, your cleaning supplies, things that you might need that you would have to go to Kmart for.
But who said that?
I said that it doesn't offer anything new that we don't already have. And I kind of, whoever just said about what the future business could, like Cinda, whoever the future businesses to come here, you're right, would really be nice if we had a bigger grocery store where you get your groceries for me. It always is more expensive in a small town. When we're also here, we went to food center. When you were young, you didn't go there very often. I could afford to go there now because I'm old, you know. But I'm
So
missing that.
The point
And I
is,
think
can you
people
get
live here.
something new and different at Dollar General
I
that you
don't
can't
think so.
already get?
Kelseyville Lumber has supplies for gardening, for house cleaning, for, you just have to think beyond. It may be a little bit, I stop at Kelseyville Lumber, I stop at Studebakers, I stop here, but maybe everyone just needs to know what we have available in Kelseyville, because the lumberyard has probably everything except meat and vegetables. They have everything.
We also are talking about price. We're all on a
restaurant,
budget, and competition can help us because I can't spend a markup of 25%. I can't afford it.
Understand that
Definitely.
competition is always good. Yes. In the back?
Okay.
Yes.
Well, first I had a question. On this 28th meeting, is this where we can raise issues that community people care about that they say the planning commission doesn't address?
This is kind of the pre-meeting to address those issues that we're going to all kind of focus on and take to that meeting, but you're right, that's where it can be.
Well, I've lived in Kelseyville for over 42 years. My husband and I agree, he's got a meeting, my daughter's got a meeting tonight, my son-in-law's got a meeting. We're all opposed for a number of reasons. One is traffic, because of the schools. The schools have kids going at all different times of the day. My grandkids have different schedules. The traffic is really heavy during all the school stuff with all those kids have cars. All the buses, there's so much traffic during those times, and that's right there. So I care about the traffic. I care about the impact on local businesses because I too think that it's going to have a negative impact on the small stores. I agree with the idea about the major grocery store would be a whole different thing because I do go to Lakeport to do major shopping. But small things, I go into, Kelseyville Lumber all the time. I go into the food center, and I myself, in the many, many times I've been in food center, have been treated courteously, and it's all been fine, and I've been able to get the small things I need. So I haven't had any issues with them at all. And one of the other things is the character of the town. Maybe the planning commission doesn't care about that, but I have noticed over the years that as we are now becoming a tourist attraction, the magazines sell this town as country town. This town has a character of a country town with nice small stores, very friendly, very warm. That's why I love it here. And like I said, we've been here over 40 years. There's a bus that goes to Lakeport. There's a dollar store there, there's groceries there, all of that. I mean, I really think that the impact on Store 24 and the impact on some of the smaller merchants, I can't see how that won't have a negative impact. And that's just my viewpoint. And if it isn't the things that the Planning Commission cares about, then I want to know who does care, because I really hate the idea of a chain store coming in here that isn't representative of the local people.
Right. So that is a conundrum because it's not something that the planning commission will address.
Yeah.
Appeal, perhaps, for the supervisors.
Okay.
And that's Wally.
My name's Wally Holbrook. I've been here for a while. I had a question about the front page and the second page. And the front one says it's a preliminary site plan. Page 2 says it's a site plan. But the location of the building and the direction of the parking is different on both of these. And why I'm asking about that, and I'm not sure if that makes a big deal, but my concern is about pedestrian traffic in relation to the high school and where the location of the crosswalks are now and where the location would be and where the entrance to the store is, because unless kids have really changed, they go from wherever they are to the door, and they don't go through the crosswalk or go on the path or whatever there may be that way. And on page 1 it shows that there's a detention area, and I'm not sure what a detention area is, but it's that's to to hold water or something like that, then I'm just wondering how, how people are going to get in and out of this store when it looks like it's designed for automobile traffic. And on Douglas Road, it doesn't look like there's any way to enter the store off of Douglas Road. So I'm concerned how shoppers are going to get in and out of there, but more so how students are going to get in and out of there, because they're going to go there. And I think that might compound the traffic issues in that area.
And it's definitely one of our major points of contention is the traffic congestion issue. Okay. Those are just added details that may or may not have been worked out by the guys looking at it. But we can certainly bring those up at the meeting. Gary, first.
I just want to clarify this handout that I brought. The top sheet was a preliminary plan that I got from the butchers who own the property. And the second sheet was the one I got from planning today. So I assume that one is probably the prevailing site plan. The other one that Bernie sent me was dated July of 14, so I imagine they've made some adjustments. So I just wanted to clarify that. Didn't mean to be confusing.
I just have one question. When I was at the Middletown meeting, one of the developer that was there talked about how he grew up in a town that had a Dollar General, and that now that there's two more, so there's three in a town. We already have two in Lake County. We don't have four yet. We just have two here. Knowing that there's two more that are looking to be approved, they were looking at one in Cobb. I guess my question, number one, are the stores that are designed here able to expand their footprint? So if this was a 9,100 square foot store, could they increase their footprint, let's say, by 50% to 13,000 feet, which may have a bigger impact on the town down the road? And secondly, if we go from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8, I mean, where would the planning commission or the board of supervisors maybe draw the line as to, okay, how far? I mean, we're all going to be able to ride our bikes to a Dollar General in Lake County by the time they're done, or what's going to be the right amount? Is it 4? Is it 8? And they've talked about how they've been in towns where there was 1, and then they did so well now there's 3, and that's going to limit it's going to limit growth from the private sector for sure. I mean, the guy at the meeting talked about they weren't big box, but if you do the math on their proposed, I think they're at 14,000 stores now, projected to go to maybe 16 or 17,000 stores. That's 153 million feet of retail space, which is the equivalent of about 1,200 Walmarts. So it's a pretty significant number to say, well, they're not big box, they're just little box, because it fits in a small footprint. So, the impact down the road, I mean, I would be concerned with, where the county or the planning commission or the supervisors may draw the line on 2's enough, or 4's enough, or 6 is enough, and where that might be.
Right, so expansion, both within the existing site for the building itself and expansion into other areas of the county with more stores. Two big questions, whether or not the planning commission has any criteria for how many stores that one company has in the county. Probably not.
Yeah, it's not a planning commission level thing. It's really a board of supervisors level at that point. I can't answer the first part of this though. This site, the way they're laying this out, it doesn't allow for expansion. They actually look for relatively small properties. This is their formula. It's a 9,100 square foot store. They like to duplicate that formula. It works real well for their shipping distribution system. They would not be able to expand this. There's not enough room there. I guess presumably they could buy the third parcel behind it here that faces Live Oak, take the house down and try to expand that way. but I've never heard of the expansion of existing stores being part of their model.
I'm Sue Dodd. My question is, what time will the delivery trucks be coming in? I haven't looked at this, so you might have answered this. How are they coming in? Will there be a conflict with the school buses when they're coming in and all the other people? I've taken my son down to Mountain Vista, and I've been held up by kids walking across the street, taking their sweet time walking across the street, slowing down even more so when they see that they have a nice line going. So how's that going to impact coming in and off of that, and how much do Public Works look at that? And I think that what Wally was saying also, you know, they're just going to be coming out wherever. If they come out the back way to go over now instead of, because right now they are focusing on store 24, so they do usually use that crosswalk. And as a parent, I'm not really happy. My son's going to be at the high school next year. I'm not happy with the congestion that's going to be there. I think that street is narrow as it is without the trucks coming on. It's narrow when the school buses are rolling by.
No, that's a good question. It was touched on at the pre-application development review meeting last year about that traffic conflict and making sure that the delivery that occurs once a week, and they use one large truck once a week, that's their system to resupply these stores. So we would ask the Planning Commission to put a condition in the use permit that provides a window of when that truck is to deliver. Because we don't want it coming in at peak traffic flow times in the morning or afternoon. That would, you know, there's already too much going on there. Last thing he needs a 53-foot truck sitting there.
And what kind of penalty would be? I mean, because they'll go, oh, sorry, you know, because I've been in trucking also, and they're going to do what they're going to do because they need to move those trucks.
Well, Dollar General operates their distribution system, so it's not like a third-party supplier, so they have a lot more control over the delivery schedule. And our assumption is, you know, they've been talking to us about a total of 4 stores in the county. I think that's the magic number for them for distribution, because they can, you know, just circuit around the lake. That one truck's going to come up once a week, hit their 4 stores to resupply them. And, you know, for this site in particular, because it's not right on a highway, I think there should be a condition included in the use permit that just prohibits delivery during those peak hours. They either do it early in the morning before opening, before the school's busy, or they do it afterwards in the evening.
How does that truck pull off that road into their lot?
They've got the question. I missed the question.
How does that big 53-footer pull off of Main Street into that lot?
They've got a 36-foot wide driveway proposed along with a very wide encroachment, plus they're going to do curb gutter and sidewalk improvements along both road frontages. So all of that's going to clean up that access, widen it out. You'll have the pedestrian safety improvements there. However, there probably should be I think they probably should be required to put in an additional crosswalk across Douglas. So we know those kids are going to cut across in front of.
No, it's Main Street is what they're going to have to put.
They're going to cross Main Street already where the crosswalk is.
No, they're going to have to put a crosswalk right in front of the Dollar General, because the kids aren't going to use the crosswalks. They're going to go right to the way.
They're not going to go to the 76 station.
No.
They're going to come off the hill, straight down.
They're not going to walk the extra 100 feet.
Nope. No way.
And teenagers?
Teenagers?
They'll cut out the kids down the hill or walk across the
Is there any history in them closing down stores because they don't make it? That's kind of a concern of mine. If this store doesn't make them money, they're corporate.
Well, according to the cross-development folks that were at the Middletown NAF meeting last week, they said that has not happened anywhere.
Rick, I have a question. I'm sorry, Cindy, did you answer that?
No, I'm done.
Did you answer? What conditions do they have at store 24 on the trucks that go in there? They have a different truck for every item. Goes there, they have beer trucks, Pepsi trucks, potato chips, bread truck.
We don't have any such restriction on that store. We can put that restriction on Dollar General because this is a new permit application. They have to adhere to it. If they don't, then we have an issue. We have an enforcement process.
But I have an issue. There's delivery trucks on Main Street every day of the week. Monday through Thursday, every day of the week. They block the cars, they block the lanes, they go to the Mexican market, they go to the Kelseyville Food Center, they have whiskey delivery trucks, Budweiser parks on the side of the street. That's not an issue of getting stuff into Kelseyville. It never has been. I've been up here for 12 years. Every delivery truck comes to Kelseyville. U.S. Produce, Cisco delivers to the Saul shop. They park on the side of the road in front of the building, and that's the way it goes. And it'll be the same thing with the Dollar General store. I've been to the Dollar General store in Nice, and the delivery truck parks in their parking area.
I think we're just concerned about the actual location across from the high school and with the junior school over there. At that same intersection, it's going to be congested. And we're just not sure.
So how do you, and the question is, how do you deal with kids jaywalking when they got a crosswalk, right?
Move the store and put it somewhere else. Across the highway, maybe? In the back, the guy in the giant cat.
So what do you say to the next business? What do you say to the next business that wants to come in and develop on that community commercial parcel with the retail store?
If it's part of the vision for growth of the community, yeah. It has to be looked at a case-by-case basis.
I think it also
In the back, the giant's cat.
what it is, Rick.
My name's Dave Markson. I live on Live Oak Drive, just a little bit opposite from this development. And on the preliminary flyer that I was, sent, there was an indication of a possible road or driveway from the back of this property to Live Oak Drive. It doesn't show here. Is that something that can happen? Because, I live on Live Oak, and aside from all the emergency vehicles that drive through there, regularly, maybe not daily, but at least 5 days a week, I have a police car and mostly ambulances and fire trucks. They're going to put a driveway just a little bit over from where I live. Is that a possibility? No. I live kitty corner from the Live Oak Grill. I live across from the fire hydrants.
Yeah, there's no access proposed from this site.
Okay. Well, that original drawing that I got showed a very dark line, which indicated a road. And it was the same as indicated all the main roads.
So all they're proposing is one access driveway off of Main Street.
Okay. And it also proposed two different addresses. So
yeah, there's two legal parcels of record. These are two parcels that are just over a half acre each. If they were to get approval and build here, they're going to have to merge, combine those parcels into one parcel as a condition of approval. So it's got two addresses because it's two parcels.
Well, my concern was is there going to be a back driveway across from my house?
No, there's no plan for that.
Did they purchase the other acreage as well?
No, they haven't purchased anything.
They
haven't bought anything yet. They're waiting to see if, planning commission.
Mary first.
Mary Bourgeon, I just wanted to validate Mark's observation about multiple stores. Dave and I we like road trips, and we like taking them in rural areas in the South. We've been in Mississippi and in Virginia and the Carolinas. And Peggy is telling me they say they only build their stores 10 miles apart. That's what their policy is. I feel like I've seen them just blocks apart. I mean, there were two things we noted in the South. Churches on every block and dollar stores on every other block, General Dollar on every other block. It was amazing. It drew our attention. So I think that's something to really research, and how can we believe the information they give us or not?
Trina first.
There's a rendition of what it's going to look like. Is that true? Is it only going to be approved if it's that rendition? It's blocking their, yeah. Is that, Rick, is that what they have submitted, or is that something someone else has?
That's the second version after staff input, and we're trying to make it look, kind of country town architecture. We're asking that, and we'll be recommending to the Planning Commission that they wrap that architecture around the building. The other thing, they're going to have roof-mounted equipment. We need that screened. We don't need to be looking at the back of HVAC systems on the roof from Live Oak Drive. It will be visible from part of Live Oak Drive, when you look south of that house on that third parcel. So we want that to look nice. We think they need to dress up the architecture more. There will be significant amounts of landscaping required as well. We're asking the Planning Commission to provide more design input, but we're giving some direction that we think is appropriate for the Commission. So if it's approved, to ask the Commission to force those design modifications, provisions, including removing one row of parking so we can push the building a little closer to the street, reduce that mass amount of asphalt here, because they don't need all that parking. That creates more drainage problems. We need to look at the pedestrian access and get some sort of a connection. There's a lot of things that, little details that would still have to be worked out if the project's approved.
Well, I think we, if it's our only hope is to give some direction on how it's going to look if it all comes down. There's a lot of people in this room who have been working years to make, decades, for Kelseyville to be the quaint country town that it is, and the envy of all of Lake County. And put in, I think that's what's really, is to put in something like that, and everyone's like, great. Here we've got a beautiful downtown, trying to fix it up. We have great pear festivals, Christmas events, dances. It just doesn't fit in with that whole plan that people have been working literally, Maryland probably their whole life on. And it's just disheartening to see something, a box like in Nice, to go up there. So if our only hope is to, if it's going to happen anyway, please let us have some kind of input on the design of it, so at least fits into town.
You should have design input, and that's part of that process. One of the things I want to mention that staff is also telling the developer is staff does not support the use of a freestanding sign. They don't need it.
Freestanding what?
Freestanding sign. They don't need a freestanding sign at this location. It's on the highway. We want to limit them to just the sign on the building. I think the ugliest part of these stores is their sign, and it's a trademark sign. Those colors are what you get.
The big yellow sign is
that's a trademark sign. So the only thing that we can come up with is keep the size of the sign reduced and keep it on the building only. They don't need a second freestanding sign. Everybody would know where the store is as they're coming to Kelseyville. New building, new landscape, new parking. It's going to advertise itself without the sign.
What about the color of the building?
The color, absolutely, we have control over.
Okay, so what is that process then?
We've been doing that internally. I asked for feedback from the Kelseyville Business Association a few months ago. We didn't get any specific design recommendations yet, but you can certainly raise that at the Planning Commission hearing. I'm going on the assumption, I can't, y'all know I can't, I get that, y'all know I can't, deny the project. That's not staff's authority or
come on,
what we can do is do our best to make sure the thing looks nice, so that if it's approved, and that's where I hope that you folks will provide design input for the Planning Commission. If you don't want it, voice your concerns to the Planning Commission that you don't want this project here and list the reasons why, and get that in the public record, and they'll consider the things that they can consider. But you might also want to say, if this thing ends up being approved, we at least want it to look like A, B, and C.
How many of the original plans for Nice and how that was approved, the store is there in existence, how many fallacies have you found that didn't work out with that store?
It's only been there for how long? Answer that question.
Are you sharing this?
Yes, what was the question?
How many problems have you found that exist in Nice that came to fruition with the existence of the store?
I'm not sure. I think I might understand.
Well, like parking, traffic problems, design problems, the color is wrong. What came out of that process?
Frosties.
Okay, not a problem.
I don't think there is a process for that.
No more peanut butter milkshakes.
Okay, so.
If somebody else buy a parcel next door, they're gonna put ice cream shop in.
There you
Kirk
go.
was next.
I was going to direct my question to Mary, but Rick answered the question by the fact that the big yellow sign is pretty much comes with the building, and that's not subject to change. When it comes to landscaping, does that include trees or green space?
Trees.
A lot of space in front.
Yeah, trees and landscape islands, we want trees in there, and my personal feeling, you guys tell me, or the planning commission if I'm wrong, but try to match up the new street trees that are down in the core of town here, try to pull in some of those design and landscape elements over there, so there's some continuity.
We have new street lighting in Kelseyville.
I've already talked to the developer about the lighting, the style of lighting, to try to mimic what's down here.
Rick, how long has the Nice one been open?
3 or 4 months.
So not a long time to make a determination.
As we're on this, what has that store benefited? What's the benefits? Because I can't see
It's
them.
been the Nice store and the Clear Lake Oak store are doing a lot better than, according to the developers, a lot better than what they were anticipating. In those communities, we've had no complaints from the people living in those communities. Those stores are providing a convenience there for affordable shopping for folks that didn't have it in those towns, because there's very little choices there. So there's been a benefit there, a benefit to the discretionary income levels of the folks living in those towns that are not traveling to Lakeport or Clear Lake.
I'm Quincy Anderson. We've lived here for 35 years in Kelseyville, and one of my concerns is that, sort of apropos what Trina was saying, is that the view that we have, long-term residents have, of Kelseyville, this doesn't fit. The other thing is, I don't see any financial benefit to Kelseyville from this. The money goes out of, not only out of county, but out of state. And the only thing that is left here are minimum wage jobs for the few workers that they do hire. So I don't see any benefit other than the convenience for some people to shop at that store.
Right, that's obvious. This is a corporate store and all profits go out of the county. There's no recirculation of any profits. That's a point that we can bring up. Gary?
I think this guy was ahead of me.
Do it.
Okay, this, back to looking at the back picture, the structure, I mean, I walk out my front door. I mean, I bought my house right after my son graduated from high school. Okay, so now we live across the street, so I don't have to drive it. But, when I walk out, I can look out across this nice meadow, field with a few trees in it, and I realize it's going to go away eventually. Okay. But the last thing I want to do is walk out and instead of being able to watch like the couple hundred motorcycles that ran through over the weekend and cars and people walking and everything, I'm going to look at this monolithic wall right out my front door, and there's no benefit to me because obviously I'm going to boycott the store. I mean, it's going to be within walking distance, but I'm going to spend the $4 for gas to drive into Lakeport or over to Kelseyville Lumber or the food center, or, I shop there. I'm not going to shop there because, they're disrupting an otherwise nice, tranquil, environment. It'd be nice if there were a few smaller structures. But to look at this long, big, beige back wall of a building, I mean, I grew up in the Bay Area. I've been coming to Lake County since the 50s, and I retired here. And the last thing I need to do is be able to be just sitting there looking at a wall.
We will see you at the planning commission meeting.
Depends on when my granddaughter's born.
Yes, Connie?
Well, I don't want to give my age away, but I've lived here for 65 years, so I can do the math. But I think I have a question for Rick, too.
when you say we keep referring to we in the planning commission, and how many of those people are involved in this on a daily basis? How many people are actually on the planning commission representing us, representing Kelseyville, representing all these thoughts that are coming out tonight? These are the reasons that we don't want to do this. I teach at the high school a lot, at the middle school a lot, and it's heck just to get turned in there. There are a lot of congestion, there are a lot of kids involved, there's a lot of traffic involved, and I just don't think that this is a positive thing to go in that particular spot. Maybe there's a place for them somewhere in this county, but why Kelseyville and why right there? Do they have other options? Have they looked? Yes. I mean,
the planning commissioner for this district is Gil Shu. He's our most senior planning commissioner. Rob appointed him. We have 5 planning commissioners, each one appointed by the board for those districts. They work as a team real well, but they also represent their areas. And I think in this case, I think you know, show up at the hearing, express your concerns, write a letter to them, show up with a letter. You know, you've got different options, but articulate your concerns to them so that they understand that, because they've got, you know, these are tough decisions for that commission to make, and it's ultimately up to them. And whatever decision they make is appealable to the Board of Supervisors. If they deny it, it's an appeal by the applicant. If they approve it, it's probably an appeal by the community. But that process needs to run its course.
Do they make that decision in one day? Do they hear all this and then that day?
It depends. It depends on if there's any new information of an environmental concern that needs more work. Then in most cases they will continue the hearing, or they'll just run the hearing for several hours and address, you know, take in all the comments and then deliberate. It's hard to say, but you need to be at the meeting. And if you can't attend, it's a good idea to write a letter, address it to the commission. It gets into the record. It's all part of the public record. And the commissioners would, you know, get that to us the night before the hearing, and we'll make sure they get a copy of your letter.
So that's an important
Where
point.
we send a letter like that? Can you give us the address information of where we send that letter?
Yeah, you just 255 North Forbes Street.
Okay.
Planning commission?
Marilyn's writing it down.
Yeah, 255 North Forbes Street, Lakeport. Attention Community Development Department, and then put Planning Commission. The best way to go with that is email it. If it's, you know, quick. We got a week and a half almost to the hearing, so you got time to mail it if you get the letter out. Otherwise, just email it.
Will that be in public record?
It's all public record. Emails that are addressed to the commissioners, we print those. We print the copies for the commissioners. We put them on the green sheet, the green paper, just to differentiate what's come in since we gave the commissioners the staff report, so they'll know to look at that before the hearing.
We've got 5 minutes left.
How many business owners are here tonight?
Cool.
Wally?
I have questions, and I think others do too, that aren't really aligned with the planning commission. It's more asking questions of this corporation. And I'm wondering if there's a way that there could be a representative come to our community so we have a chance to ask those kinds of questions rather than leaving everything to the planning commission, who they really can't make their decision based on some of the stuff that I think we want to know. I'd really like to know what their policy is, and I can't find it on contributing to the communities. You can't find anything where that is, or I can't find anything on that. And I couldn't find out how many stores, if there's any other stores that are this close to our high school. I doubt it, but I have no way of knowing that, and I don't know who to ask.
Those exact questions came up in Middletown. They had a the guy from the development corporation that builds the buildings, and they also had a gentleman there from Dollar General who was a regional manager. And they asked how many were next to schools, and he said, well, I don't have that information. You know, it's all public record, you can go find it. And the other question you had was about contributions. And they said that you're more than welcome to go in there and give them an application, fill out their application, and they'll send that off to corporate and see what they can do for you. For donations.
Literacy programs are a key thing that they're excited about.
Right.
That seems to
So
be
they
their
had some
thing.
things, but there wasn't like, you walk in and get something. Although the regional manager did say he could be contacted directly at any time by phone or email and ask. So having the representative here and, firing questions, they did that at Middletown, and a lot of people got off of the use permit thing and did fire some pretty direct questions. Some of them he had an answer for, some of them he didn't. I don't know, would it help this group? I'm not sure.
They didn't get invited to this.
No.
Short notice.
But if this ultimately does go through, we're going to want to talk to somebody.
Other things like, products made in America versus products made in China. I mean, it went into, they brought up a lot of those things, and is it really, in my personal opinion, it didn't really, we all understand the business model, and we all have our personal opinions on that, but in regards to the actual use permit in the building, whether that, that's really, two separate issues.
Yes.
It's really tough.
Eventually,
They're listening to it.
maybe they're a part of our design changes in that process.
Is the Dollar General going to be accepted in Middletown?
I would hope they come in and talk to us when we ask them. Gary?
My question is for Rick and the county, because I just first saw these schematics today, and I assume the one the county gave me is the most accurate one. But I'm just curious why they're not coming in, proposing to come in off Douglas rather than the corner of Main, which is a kind of a drop-off there. And coming out of there is not going to be very easy either for the average driver. You're going to be. So I'm just saying, Rick, is there any way to reconsider the access?
I think the problem for him was coming off of Live Oak Drive onto Douglas, coming in that route with the big trucks.
Yeah.
So much of this design, it's not about the customer traffic, it's about getting that big regional truck in.
Right. So I would say if they come in, they should come in Live Oak Drive and stay off Main.
No. Never drive down that road in a car? Can't get in there.
Can I?
I got a picture in my house of Old Station.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock.
Hey, Ryan.
Time is up.
Can we go straight? It's actually 8 o'clock, but that's fine. No. I want to just state one thing about this traffic thing. I don't know if many people remember when we talked with Caltrans, what Caltrans' ultimate goal is to close off Main Street access. Coming in. It's going to be coming in off of Live Oak.
Just egress, Rob.
Yeah,
We got them to
egress.
consider
Right.
egress.
Going out is going to be, that's what the possible proposal. The main egress coming in eventually into Kelseyville is going to be Live Oak. They're going to widen that. They're going to do all this stuff. So just, so everybody knows that's.
Does Dollar General understand that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Live Oak would be widened.
With Caltrans.
That's a pretty big question.
They put all the money.
Been reviewed by Caltrans.
Yeah, so I mean, of course, you got to also remember that the Willits bypass started in 1940, so it'll be a $3 store by the time it's bought.
All right.
The last thing, just the Dollar General rep will be at the hearing, so while I wasn't here today, you can ask through the Planning Commission chair, you can ask those same questions of, ask the Planning Commission for the applicant to respond to those types of questions.
Good, so let's all be there. And I think in preparation for that, we're going to put together all these topic points in an email and send them out to everybody that's on the list who signed in today. And also Facebook. ABA and Facebook.
Ryan?
Yes.
I didn't get asked the second part of my question, Rick, and that is the only reason this is going to the planning commission now is for the use permit because of the size of the building. The zoning only allows 8,500 square feet.
Minor use permit allows, first off, if it's 5,000 square feet or less, no use permit required. If it's between 5,000 and 8,000, it's just a little minor use permit. Because they're up to 9,100 square feet, it triggers a major use permit, which is automatic trip to the planning commission. Also, this is about 8% the size of a standard Walmart, to keep it to scale.
Got it.
Well, so it's Kelseyville.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Rick, what time is it?
See you the 28th.